Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alona Cherva. I am a psychologist and CBT psychotherapist. So for someone who doesn't know what CBT means, it means cognitive behavioral therapy. And today's topic I would like to dedicate to a very common question and very common emotion of every human being. And this emotion we call anxiety. So in my practice, nowadays there are a lot of anxious people who feels anxious about everything around them. Of course, we have to consider that the world is bringing us to the situation where we feel anxious. But before we start talking about anxiety as an emotion, we have to understand from the perspective of life and psychology in general and the development of the anxiety as emotion. So if you think about an emotion like an evolutionary product, what does it mean to you actually that the anxiety means? First, the anxiety is the emotion that help your family, someone who was before you, to come into this world. What does it mean? Anxiety is a normal evolutionary emotion that help our ancestor to feel anxious during the time when they need to feel anxiety, when it's normal to feel anxious. And what happened later on that this emotion was passed through the generations to us, and right now we feel anxious. But we feel anxious now not because we are sitting in the cave and there is a lion outside of the cave, but we are afraid of other things, other external things in this world. And I believe it's absolutely normal to be anxious about certain events that's happening in our life. But sometimes people get anxious over everything and everyone around them. And this is where the real problem comes, because you as a human are allowed to feel anxious. But what is happening to you if you're feeling anxious about everything? So those clients who comes to me with their anxiety problems, they always say that they have some ideas about certain situations when they feel anxious. So if we talk about cognitive model that we have in cognitive behavioral therapy, it has this simple formula: A, B, C. A is an activation event. Basically, this is something happening in your life that is activating your response. C, consequence. But between A and C, there is B. B means belief, your thoughts, your automatic thoughts, or your belief about yourself, about others, and the world around. So let's think, if you think that the world is not a safe place, how would you react on certain external situation that is happening around you where you are actually not having any responsibilities or you cannot influence? You definitely start being anxious. So your belief, your core belief about yourself, the world and others, and the certain situation that you developed in your life determines and will explain to you how you're gonna react. As Socrates said, that not the situation that is happening, either bad or good, but the way we think and we look at the situation. So what we are doing actually in cognitive behavioral therapy. First, when the anxious client comes, we work on his beliefs and automatic thoughts. So let's say the client is afraid of some external things that are happening around, and it's not only about that, but it's also the way he feels about himself, that is not going to be safe, he's not going to be protected. So we work on his core beliefs around this idea. And in cognitive behavioral therapy, it's not only about psychological way, the process that we have in the therapy, but it's also behavioral. So exposure therapy is very much engaged in the psychotherapy we are doing, because in order to really change your life, you need to experience this change. Without just, understanding and listening and feeling, yes, there might some change happens, but the real change is happening when you do some steps in your life and your brain understand that yes, it's actually my life is changing, I feel different, I can do it, I can, and I am less anxious. So exposure therapy bring a very, very big success to the therapy when the client is trying to expose himself gradually into the danger, or into not the danger but actually anxious events that he used to be afraid of. Also, we teach client a mindfulness, because without relaxation, without mindfulness techniques, their anxiety will not go down. And it's so important for the client who has those traits of being anxious to experience those anxiety, but in a different way. Through the psychotherapy, we help to develop some skills that the client can actually apply in his nowadays life and feel more strong and self-confident. So, as a first thing, if we summarize today's video, I would like to say again that anxiety is a very normal emotion that protects us from a normal danger in the world. And it's not okay to feel over anxious. This is the problem that needs to come to the specialist. And the second thing, that CBT is one of the most successful psychotherapy who has the scientific data on lots of scientific data on anxiety treating problems. So subscribe to my channel and you will receive more videos and interesting content on the subject of humanity and life in general.